Greetings, Cornerstone family, and welcome to anyone who is dropping in on our sermon preparation notes for this coming Sunday. This Sunday's text is going to be Matthew 16, verses 21 through 28, and we're going to address two areas in the structure this morning. One is, what did the disciples understand about the death of Jesus, and when did they understand it? The other is, what do we understand about the motivation behind taking up our cross and following Jesus, about losing our life in order that we might save it? What is the foundation of any of that discussion, losing your life in order that you might save it or find it? Let's look at the text here and the structure of it. The first thing that we see in the structure of the text is that Jesus is beginning to show the disciples something. And what he is showing them is that he will suffer and he will die. We see this in the verbs, suffer many things, he will be killed, on the third day he will be raised. And then we're going to see Peter taking him aside and rebuking him. This idea that the Messiah would suffer and die is scandalous to the disciples. It is terrible, and for many understandable reasons. Among them would include the fact that these disciples had left everything to follow Jesus under the promise of a kingdom. And the king dying was not in their paradigm. It was not in their thought life. And they are going to be, Peter is going to be rebuked greatly for not having his heart and mind set on the things of God. That then brings us to some statements by Jesus that really affect how we live our life today. Look at this second section. He told his disciples that if anyone would come after me, if anyone, that embraces you and me as well, let him deny himself, take up his cross, and follow. And then he has these three markers of reason, these markers of rationale for why you and I must take up our cross, deny ourselves, and follow Jesus. He says, and he states this general principle, whoever will save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for my sake will save it. Now, why? What's the basis for making such a statement? The next marker of reason says, what would it profit a man if he gains the whole world and forfeits his soul? So in other words, the reason that you need to take up your cross and lose your life so that you might find it is because you could forfeit your soul in this transaction. What does that mean? Third marker of reason, verse 27. For the Son of Man is going to come with his angels in the glory of the Father. That means in his role as deity. And it says he will repay each person according to what he has done. In other words, the reason why we must take up our cross, follow Jesus, lose our life for his sake is because a day of judgment is coming. And he is going to come in fearful glory to judge us. There's a threat couched in there that we're going to unpack a little bit this week. Also, we see at the very end that Jesus makes a statement about him coming in his glory, that some of the disciples alive right there at that time are going to see it before they die. Now we know that it says there are some standing here who will not taste death until they see the Son of Man coming in his kingdom. Well, we know that all of those disciples there died of natural causes 2,000 years ago, or nearly 2,000 years ago. So that means some of them have already seen this. What is he talking about? Well, we're going to have to answer that question by this Sunday as well. So as we leave this text, we leave it with two impressions. Number one, the Messiah must suffer. Number two, those who follow him must suffer as well. That this is a matter of identification with Jesus. It's a sign that you actually belong to Jesus, because characteristic of those who do not suffer for Jesus is that they will lose their souls. Characteristic of those who do suffer for Jesus is that they will find life. So this is a real text on perseverance. Of course, we know at Cornerstone that serving Jesus and suffering for others involves loving God first, loving one another second, and loving the lost in outreach. And it's a matter of our own personal perseverance. It's an indicator of our relationship with Jesus. It's an indicator, really, ultimately, of our eternal destiny. So I look forward to studying this passage further with you this week and then again on Sunday. You have a great week.